This segment will be on HDR photography. HDR photography is the technique that combines image information from multiple exposures into one image with detail beyond the limitations of single exposures. This is done by taking a series of bracketed images. The goal is to get every part of the image in good exposure by shooting a series of images. Your camera will auto-bracket images for you in the auto exposure bracketing setting. You can set your camera to auto exposures from anywhere from 3 to 7 images, depending on your camera model. This is an example of a series of bracketed images. Overexposing the image will give us detail in our shadows, and when we underexpose the image, we'll get all of our highlights and good exposure, like you see here. Bracketing means that you tell your camera how many frames you want to shoot and how much of an exposure difference you want between the images. You'll want at least 3 images to blend together. I commonly take 5 to 7 shots, so I have options to choose from. Using a tripod is going to make your life much easier. The software to process HDR will auto-align your images if you aren't on a tripod, but sometimes it can be problematic, so it's always better to be on a tripod if you can. Bracketing on aperture priority is the proper way to bracket with HDR. By not adjusting your aperture, your depth of field remains the same. Your camera is probably set to take the first image at the metered reading, and then it will take the underexposed image and then the overexposed image. If you'd like more than just 3 different images and your camera will only bracket 3 images at a time, it may be just as easy to manually bracket instead. To manually bracket, you're going to use your light meter indicator to get you your starting exposure. You want the average exposure where you have most everything in good light. From there, you're going to adjust your shutter speed 2 clicks to the right, which is going to give you a darker image. And again, 2 more clicks to the right will get you another darker image. Now you need to go back to your starting place, so 4 clicks to the left. Take it 2 more clicks to the left and you'll get a little bit brighter image than your average, and 2 more clicks to the left will get you an even brighter image from there still. Then you know you have all the ranges that you will need. Once you have the images that you need, it's time to merge your bracketed images together. There are several different companies that make really good HDR processing software. This is Nik Software, which Google bought out, and it's now a free collection, which used to have to be paid for. There's also Photomatix, which is good as well, although it has a price of $99. Once you install the software, it's very simple. Once you have all of the exposures that you need, you're going to bring them into Photoshop. With your software installed, it's going to show up on the right. We're going to go to Merge Multiple Image Series. You're going to add your open files. They'll be the only open files you have in Photoshop. Then click Merge Dialog. The next screen, you're going to have options for alignment if you were hand-holding your camera, ghost reduction, as well as chromatic aberration. Then you're going to click Create HDR. Once it processes the image, it brings it in with mostly a balanced exposure, but you have presets to the left here that you can click through to find the one that you like the best. And you can still tweak it with settings on the right. You have options for the depth, for the amount of detail, for the drama that you want it to have. You can adjust the exposure, the shadows, the highlights. Plenty of things to adjust still on the right. Once you're happy with those settings, you can click OK. And it brings it right back into Photoshop, where you can still do some adjustments if you like from there. And that's pretty much it for HDR. It's a lot of fun and certainly can add a surreal feel to your images.